Hi, guys. Welcome to our podcast. We are the Soul Sanctuary Podcast, and I'm here with Ocean Lover. How are you?
I'm well overall. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm good.
It's good. It's good.
I'm definitely good.
Yes.
So, real quick reminder for everyone, if you'd like to join our online community, go to the soulsanctuary.love and you can sign up there. We have exclusive chats, different tiers of inclusivity, as well as opportunities for things that we don't talk about publicly. Okay, so today's episode, we're going to be talking about transitions.
Mm,
Um, do you want to kind of start? I my words have left me. I don't know. I felt an energetic shift
that's okay.
right as the intro was ending, and my words are gone.
Yeah, I felt like I was being set up by soul, but it's okay. So transitions, changes. The thing about life is that the only thing constant is change, right? The only thing that's really consistent is change. Birth, death, moving, careers, job changes, birth, marriage, divorce, parents moving in, parents moving out, children moving back in, children moving out, sickness, significant weight gain, significant weight loss. All of these are things that are indicative of transitions. And so that's life, right? That's life. And the thing about transitions is that they always offer us an opportunity to choose how we respond, right? And I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong way. In a lot of circumstances, a lot of instances, there are choices and there are ways and there are I would say processes, right? Transitions can help spark processes.
Yes. So what I've noticed is in a lot of people's journey as of late, the past 2, 3 weeks. I mean, we haven't been able to do an episode for about 2, 3 weeks at this point. There's a lot of initiation of these transitionary periods,
Yeah.
and it's being felt physiologically, emotionally, um, energetically.
Mhm.
And we kind of just want to talk about that. We want to see how our community is doing. We want to see how it's affecting you guys. And maybe, touch on some of the ways in which we can facilitate this transition. We can facilitate a smooth transition into a
Yes.
different way of being.
Mhm.
What have you guys been feeling? Ocean, have you been experiencing anything?
Of course, I've been experiencing a lot, a lot. It's something because like I said, it's life. It's a part of life. Transitions are a part of life. And, some things they come, whether you think you're ready, whether you think you're not ready, they're going to come. We can't always choose when they'll come. We can't always choose how they'll come. But we do know one thing, they're going to come. They're going to come. Yeah. Even when we did the fundraiser last week, that's one thing that was like a recurring theme. I think everyone that I got, there was this recurring theme of a time of transitions. For one, I remember it's like the winds of change were blowing through someone's life. Someone else was about to um, move into a new house. Someone else was experiencing something, transitions, life and death, and that's life. Yeah, that's the circle. The circle of life.
I think one of the important things that we need to touch on is just because it's life does not mean you have no options.
Mm-hmm. I
Options
like
in the
that.
way you choose to perceive, receive, experience,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Perceive, receive, experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's PRE. It's the precursor to change.
Mm.
How you perceive it, how you receive it, and how you experience it. Those are all choices that we make. And when we go through these transitionary periods, if we choose to shut down, if we choose to allow our emotions to get the best of us, it kind of is a precursor to a very difficult experience.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And, it's something because we talked briefly about discussing love languages and discussing personality types, just things that are part of knowing thyself more, right? But that's even a part of this. Even what you discussed just now is a part of this because a lot of it comes down to who the person is. Sometimes people are more public with their joys and their pains. They may express it more publicly. Sometimes people are more private. They may express it more privately. But one thing is for certain, just like you said, if we shut down, if we're a little bit too much to the left, a little bit too much to the right during transitions, it can kind of blow us off center a bit, kind of blow us off a little bit. What did Lisa say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just took it off the screen. She says, I feel like my transition has been slow, but starting to pick up speed,
Mm,
especially the last few months.
mm.
I've been noticing that as well. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes soul is like, okay, here you go, baby, here you go. And sometimes it's like, hey, stat, we got to get this done. We got to get it. So, yeah, I have definitely noticed an acceleration of processes internally, as well as I've observed that with other people and with the world itself, the collective energies too.
I think people are reaching a place where what they know life to be is no longer sufficient for
Yeah.
their preferences.
Hmm.
And so they're choosing to dive deeper either into the lie aspect of it or the powerful truth.
Yeah.
And it's definitely creating a type of social mitosis. People are picking their polarity,
Hmm.
and there's going to be a pinching off that occurs. Billy said something potent as well. I've noticed wanting to cope through transition, but with the awareness at the forefront, I know there are solutions to any of the struggles in it.
Oh, wow. That
That
is
awareness.
powerful. That
Hmm.
is so powerful. And it's something that Billy said that because I was thinking about that earlier. I was thinking about different options, in dealing with things and different coping mechanisms, different ways. And we were talking earlier, even about some of the ways that we cope, some of the things that we do, some of the things that we use to cope and to kind of ease some of those transitions. And some of those transitions are beautiful. Some transitions you probably won't need coping mechanisms, but some you might employ some.
Gaze wrote something powerful. My transition has felt like being thrown into a washing machine. Whoosh, whoosh. I'm right there with you, baby boo. I'm
It's like
right
that
there with you.
sometimes, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that sometimes.
And here's the thing, though. I mean, that makes the perfect analogy because these transitionary periods require the clearing out of the old ground in dirt,
Hmm.
right? We're cleansing away that which no longer serves us. And part of the ways in which a washing machine cleans clothes is through agitation. They use the
Mm,
soap to dissolve the oils, the things that
mm,
bind and bond
mm.
the dirt onto the fabric. And
That's
it's through
deep.
the agitation and then the cleansing, the releasing of that water,
Mm.
um,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then Lisa, yeah, Lisa always writes
I
amazing.
know. We have some wordsmiths in the soul family
We
here. We
do.
really do.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
There is not much that's more beautiful than a person who has a way with words.
Yes. I love that too. It's a good
Yes.
thing.
So Lisa wrote, "Yes, I've been flowing more and more. It's getting easier. Emmy was right. Holding on with bloody fingers is harder than letting go and flowing, but
Yeah,
it's scarier to let go."
yeah, yeah, I get
Yeah.
it. And how do you view transitions normally? Because me, normally I view them as an invitation. Even if they don't feel good at the time, deep in my heart of hearts, I always feel and know within myself that every transition is an invitation.
I see challenges as invitations as well.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, challenges, if you see it as a challenge, it's almost like received by your emotions as
Mm.
though you're not supported, as
Mm.
though you're being thrown to the wolves. And I like dogs.
Mhm.
So to me, it's like, oh, it's playtime. Oh,
Right.
okay. You know? And that's kind of how I see it. I like to try and give myself the time and the space to
Mhm.
recognize that it is a transition. It is
Mhm.
meant to challenge me. It is
Absolutely.
something that's going to help me better understand what I'm capable of
Mhm.
in every aspect of
Mhm.
that capability.
Absolutely.
And I'm I'm okay if I cry. I'm
Yes.
okay if I get frustrated.
Yes. Yes.
That's not the end of it.
Mm-mm.
And at the end of it, I will always persevere.
Yes, I love that. I once went into someone's office and she had this little mug and it said, "You never know how strong," like something comparing it to a tea bag. You never know how strong you are until you're thrown into boiling water, right? I
Ooh.
thought that was pretty dope. I thought that was pretty dope. I'm like, oh yeah, I think she's got a point.
Have you ever seen those specialty teas where it's kind of like a ball, and then when you put it in the teapot, it actually blossoms like a? Have you seen those?
No, I don't think I've ever seen. Like the mesh balls and everything, but I've never seen the
Mm.
ones that just blossom in the water. Oh,
Yeah,
wow, isn't that deep? Look at that
it is.
analogy.
It is.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
and it requires hot water
Hmm.
to relax the dried tea leaves because it's an
Mm.
actual dried flower. And I guess they put the other tea blend in that, and
Mm.
then they roll it up and dry it like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
You
it's
see
a
those
beautiful.
colors?
Yes, I do.
Okay, color interpreter. What are those colors? And do you all see those colors out there? Or is it something just Emmy and I can see? Because usually they see the colors too.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they can see it. Those colors are indicative of you stepping into your proper place of power.
Mm, wow.
Yeah,
Hey, invitation, right?
yeah.
Invitation. Thank you. I have some food for thought, and I hope it flows just as the food for thought that it is. I didn't edit it. I'm letting you all know right now, but just for our conversation. Speaking of transitions, sometimes these transitions can be beautiful, challenging, downright soul wrenching. For those especially challenging or soul wrenching ones, what do you do to help yourself through them? How do you assist others with theirs? Listening, cooking them a meal, just letting them know that someone cares. Depending on how the person is, their coping mechanisms can be a little different than yours, and that's okay. But what do you do for yourself and for others when you're going through these transitions? Do you get or make them something that is meaningful to them? Are you kind, supportive, understanding of their own coping mechanisms, yours, and not trying to tell them that they're coping incorrectly? What do you think about all of those things? Because I'm telling you, one thing about you is you are absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful with helping people with transitions. And I think that a lot of people that are here, myself included, somehow found you in the midst of a great transition in their life.
Yeah.
So, with you, because not just live streams and not just being a friend or a mother, a daughter, a sister, all of those things, but also in your profession, you encounter a lot of people that are going through some really heavy transitions. Tell us a little bit about that, please.
So I'm not a tarot reader. I can read tarot. I can read oracle cards. I do have these different abilities, but that's not what I actually am. I am a catalyst. I am a catalytic accelerant. If you really need to categorize my energy, and part of what happens is people will find me during a transitionary period, quite possibly their largest transition, and they'll come across my path. They'll either start watching my videos or they'll book a session. And that's because their soul is now presenting them all of these different options. These various avenues that are being presented to them lead them to different lessons. Part of my purpose is to reignite their sacred flame so they can see with clarity, using the light of their own truth,
Mm.
exactly what it is they're going through. And this is done in such a way where there is no blaming, there is strictly accountability, because accountability, it leads to empowerment. It leads to the self awareness that then leads to the self realization and self actualization that is required to reach expanded levels of awareness of self.
Mm.
So, part of the things that I do is I hold a space that allows them to just be who they are. Many people have told me over the years, there's just something about you, Emmy. I could just be myself. I know I could tell you off the wall stuff and you're not going to shame me. You're
Mm.
not going to be weirded out. You're just going to be like, oh, and then what happened? Because that's literally how I am, you
Mhm.
know? You could tell me, like, oh, my car died in the middle of the road. And then next thing you know, I saw this light in the sky and then aliens popped out and they gave me a burger. And I'm like, what kind of burger? Do you eat fries too? I wonder what
Right.
kind of meat that was. You know? I mean,
Yeah.
and that's part of the reason why I've had to go through so many transitions myself, because really the transition, much like the ending to something, is nothing but the precursor for the new beginning,
Mm.
right?
Mm. That's so deep. Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I see some people responded. Let's see what they say they like to do for transitions. Let's see. So, Lindsay said, food is my favorite for someone that is going through something. Let's see.
I bet Lindsay is an amazing cook.
I can tell you a little something. I remember that Lindsay was cooking something and I smelled it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that smells so delicious. And I tasted it. It was so good. It was so good. So Lindsay can put some spices together very well. Those things, like the combination was amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything was delicious.
Can I tell a little secret?
Yes.
She once made
Oh, oh,
this,
oh, wait a minute. My secret or her secret?
her
I can't
secret.
give permission for her
Her, her
secret.
secret. I'm gonna say it
You're gonna have
anyways.
Lindsay mad at me.
We're a community here. It's okay. We're family. So she makes this amazing salad. I'm very,
Mhm,
very big on like lean meats and then also a lot of veggies, a lot
mhm,
of fruits. And she makes this, actually, she's made several different salads, pasta
mm,
salads, and fresh salads, and they're amazing. And she always makes whatever dressing it is
mhm.
from scratch.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I love that. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love it. Ooh, this is some really good comments.
Okay.
Lisa wrote, are we afraid because we're so used to getting so little and not knowing if we will ever truly get what we deserve?
That's deep.
Is that why we're afraid of the transitions, I assume? Well, here's the thing. Do we even know what we deserve,
Mm,
right? What you guys have taught me, what our community has taught me is, as much as I'm learning what I deserve, it's nothing in comparison to what other people see as the reality of what I deserve.
it's deep. That's
Yeah.
deep.
Amazing process as I'm learning to accept myself and that I do have a purpose. I'm grateful for my beginning of a soul connection. I'm committed to my process. And the
Mm,
commitment to that process is crucial. It is
mm,
crucial. If you can be aware of the process that you're in, that's the first part. If you can commit to the seeing yourself all the way through that process, that guarantees the success of what you're embarking upon.
mm.
Yeah.
Deep.
Kavi. Beam me up. Kavi says, I've honestly enabled myself to be a certain way, also others. I've allowed the process of transformation. It's hard to go against the grain. When you
Mm,
go against the grain, you remove the highest degree of material, unnecessary material.
mm,
Sometimes when you're woodworking, you go against the grain only to then go with the grain when you're ready to polish it.
mm,
So
mm.
that's still a valid part of the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Billy says, I see transitions as moving out and into a new home, moving a lot as a child, cleaning up, packing up, and moving in, unpacking, grieving, yet in a new place, creating a new environment is filled with potential. Deep.
Mm.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are these things that happen where, using that same analogy that Billy was talking about, you don't want to move, but you need to move and you have no choice but to move. And
Yes.
that's because what you've learned in that space that you're currently occupying is done.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's
Mm-hmm.
time to move to the next part. And this fear of the unknown, this fear of, will the next place be as worthy as this one was? But if you think about it, and I'm saying this as someone who moves a lot,
Mm-hmm.
what place hasn't been as good as the last one?
Mm.
None. It's
Mm.
what you do with a place that makes it great.
I love that for
It's
sure.
really what you do with a place. So, we've been in small places, we've been in large places, we've been in hot places, we've been in cold places. It's what you do with it. I think that, well, I know that my family and I can be very, very happy in a huge home because I have a huge family. But the reality is this: do we need a huge home? No, we only ever stay in one room together all the time. I mean, you've seen
They're
us.
so cute. They do.
Always all piled up on our big old couch. You know, no one ever goes
Absolutely.
anywhere else. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. What you do in that place is what makes that place amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What you do within your life, the phases that you're in, is what makes that part of your life amazing. But you have to choose to do something. You can choose to be swept away and feel as though you're drowning, or you can choose to realize that the water won't drown you because that comes from your own heart.
Mm. That's deep. Let me ask you a question. A little bit before you, like, as you started talking about moving, I felt a really huge shift. Did
Mhm.
you feel that? I felt a huge shift and I felt the presence, right? I
Mhm.
felt like an entrance. Did you feel that?
I hope what you felt is the feel of a mansion that I'm going to move to. You'll hear
Hey,
horses and indoor like go karts.
hey, I love it. And you know what? I know that it's going to be. I know that it's going to be. I don't know when it's going to be, but I know that you won't be old when it happens.
Honestly, like I said, I'm happy anywhere that my family is. We
Mhm.
don't need a huge space. Um, I think
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off. No, you don't need it. But my nephews love an indoor go kart type place. So yeah, yeah. Keep your humble talk for another conversation. My nephews need that. I'm gonna need to get that back. I need to get that up out the universe.
they would love that, wouldn't they? They
I
would.
they would.
They
They
really would.
would.
Well, as long as their cousins can come over and play go karts.
No, they're not even gonna say nothing to me. They'll just be, I just met what?
It's empty. Don't worry, they're over here.
Exactly.
I
Right.
I think for that shift that you felt though, I think that's kind of like a letting go of the resistance to what is and must be.
That's deep. That's deep. As it was happening, I heard Constitution, right? Deep.
Girl, that's stuff we need to talk about in the private chat.
Yes. Guys, if you don't know, it's not too late. After the party, there's the after party, right? So we always go to the soul sanctuary, like the space, right? There's this and then there's that. So if you're interested, I'm almost certain that Lindsay has already posted. If she hasn't, she will because she's on it like that. But, join us. Join us. It's a beautiful space. It's private, and we just enjoy one another. We just talk, have really deep conversations, and you just never know what's going to happen in there. I remember, I'm not even going to go there. Just, it's a special place. If you know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it is a very, very special place. It's somewhere we can talk about some really important things, really, really important things, explore a lot of things I can't talk about on live streams. And
Mm-hmm.
for those who are already there and have been there in the past, you know how intense those convos and how deep we go.
Yes,
Like we
yes,
go
yes, yes,
deep. Yep.
yes.
Exactly. Lindsay put it right there. We don't
See?
censor the information in the soul
Yes, she
sanctuary.
is. That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing. And one thing that's different in there for those of you who don't know, it's um it's interactive in a much deeper way. Like it's a Zoom conference, right? So you can get on camera. If you don't want to be on camera, you don't have to be on camera. If you just want your audio to be, you can actually talk, ask questions, share your thoughts. It's a beautiful space. I love it.
It's definitely beautiful.
Mhm.
So going back to their comments,
Mm.
let me just okay. Amazing process says my husband sent a video to me in December 2019 to listen to Emmy. Oh, I didn't know that. Your husband was the one that found me? I
Wow.
listened and wasn't constantly on. Then in 2022, I started processing my whole life all at once after being attacked. Emmy opened me. I hope I wasn't the one that attacked you. I hope it wasn't me.
Oh my
I
God.
don't think it was, but yeah, wow.
Mm.
Wow. Oftentimes, that's what I would categorize that as a trauma induced accretion. And that's what it does. That's what it does. That's what it's meant to do, though.
Oh.
Lisa says, yes, always felt at home with you, Emmy. There's a comfort with you. I think I've been missing my whole life. Oh, thank
Mm.
you.
See, this is wonderful. I'm glad she asked that because today, guys, is more like you drive the conversation a great deal today. We want to know your experiences with transition, what you do, how you deal with them, and this question right here, or this state, this is really great. Dark night of the soul in
Oh,
transition.
I'm sorry. Hold on. My squirrel brain went crazy for a second. Hyperstimulation. That's what
You
happened.
got it.
Are transitions occasionally a dark night of the soul? Uh, Often, yes.
Mm.
Often.
So, what is meant by dark night of the soul? There's some people that have come here. I always like to remember there could be somebody coming for the first time. They
Right.
may not have hardly any knowledge of the talk that we're talking. What is the dark night of the soul?
It is a term that's used to describe a very low period where your life is being very, very drastically changed.
Mm.
Oftentimes, they feel very lost, they feel very confused, they lose their sense of self. The most important factors to them are being stripped away. Like this could be people, it could be a job, it could be a living circumstance, and it's just tremendous upheaval and destabilization. Now, the darkest part of the night is usually the indicator that the dawn is approaching.
Mm.
So, it is the precursor to a new life.
Mm.
Are transitions occasionally a dark night of the soul? Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And if you've forgotten that you have your sacred lantern within your heart, you will feel as though you've been immersed in a all-consuming darkness and you will not survive. And but yes, you will.
Mm.
Yes, you will.
Do you think that some transitions don't start out as a dark night of the soul, but sometimes how we receive them or shut down or put them to the side for a while can kind of spark that dark night of the soul?
I think it's our perception of what a dark night of the soul is,
Mm,
because we're so conditioned by, societal programs, spiritual teachings, and whatnot, that if we experience any type of darkness, it's intrinsically evil, a
mm,
punishment, karmic retribution, all of
mm,
these really negative concepts. I'm in a dark night of the soul right now.
mhm,
I mean, is that bad? No, maybe I've been in the sun for too long and I just need to rest,
mm,
right? That's how
mhm,
I see it. Like,
mhm,
I've experienced a lot of this, this, and this. Now I need to experience the opposing polarity for a little bit, and I can then juxtapose the two together and better understand my point of center.
mm. I love that. And the darkness, right? You're talking about the darkness, and it's been talked about here too before. But there's darkness surrounding you,
Mhm.
but there was also darkness surrounding you when you were in your mother's womb. So right
Yes.
before birth, you're surrounded by darkness, right?
Yes. 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 There is something so sacred about that darkness. We all come from darkness, a
Mm,
space so profound that it's not things you see but feel that give you a sense of what you're becoming,
mm,
right?
mm. That is deep. Has anyone ever been like in a tunnel, like life, just like in a tunnel? And let's say you don't have any light whatsoever, like you don't have any choice but to feel your way through that tunnel, out of that tunnel. Have you ever been there?
Yes.
Mm,
Yes.
mm,
Um, there's this experience that I have every so often. I'll have this experience where I am brought into a dark tunnel and I feel tremendous movement as I go through the tunnel. And I know it speeds me to places within myself, beyond myself, before myself.
mm.
And it's very, very similar to if you guys have ever seen that child's, excuse me, Finding Nemo. Have you seen that movie, Finding Nemo?
Long time
Uh,
ago. Yeah.
yeah, remember when the baby turtle, little surfer guy, he goes through that tunnel thing and it speeds him along. It's like the
Yeah.
current.
Yeah.
It's like that,
Baby.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's made of black light.
Mm, mm,
And I intermittently will be kind of forced to experience that where I'm being shifted. I'm being jostled as I'm pushed down this tunnel and I'm traveling at a very high speed. There's
mhm.
nothing to see until I allow my light to be projected outside of
Mm.
me.
Wow.
And then the tunnel becomes one made of complete light. It can
Mm.
bring you back to your point of origination, your 0 point.
Beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
The space where you were cleaved from consciousness itself.
Mm. That is deep. That is deep.
Yeah. So these dark nights of the soul, um, they have no limitations. They are the transitions, the great transitions that bring us to the greatness that we're developing our perception of. They can last for years. Gaze is asking, can it last for many years? Yes. It could be very quick. I once went through a dark night of the soul that lasted for like 7 or 8 years.
Mm.
It was difficult. The only reason it was difficult is because I made it difficult for myself. And it's not about blame, it's about recognition of the ways in which I control that process.
Mhm.
I control my perception of the experience. And I was not ready to let go of my need to punish myself.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah. Many empaths are very masochistic,
Mm.
very, very masochistic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Towards self more than anyone else, a lot of times, right?
Yeah. You know,
Mhm.
they're not necessarily sadistic, but the masochism is just like hurt me good.
We don't want that for us, guys. All right, we don't want that for us. There's another way. There's a better way. That's our question for me. Let's see, Lisa.
By
Don't.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to put that on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah. She says, "How was your transition from being a student to going live for the fundraiser?"
That's a very good question, Lisa. Quiet as it's kept, actually certified a while ago, right? But, but, we have the opportunity to attend every cycle. and I love it. So this was actually the first time we had a fundraiser, right? And so I've had a little time to transition. And honestly, I think being on the podcast helps too, because if you would have caught me before I was on the podcast, I would not want to be on the camera. Like even during the class, I'm like, nah, I'm good. But I think it was a smooth transition for the most part because of being able to get used to being more on camera during class, doing energy work, and also the podcast, just talking. But I think in the absence of those things, I wouldn't have been so comfortable. I would really be interested in how the other practitioners felt about that, the ones who were certified and were on the fundraiser that night. I wonder how they feel about that because they've had the camera in K33CP to help too, but it hasn't started off the same way for everyone. I mean, we've been at different points in our process, and that's a great question. I'd love to revisit that. I hope that we do.
I'm going to be busting you out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Girl, when I was getting ready up there, I'm like, today feels like a setup by soul, but it's okay. It's all right. Go ahead, girl. Bust me
Yeah,
up.
no, you came on the podcast with me because I don't know if I was actively crying or you were aware that I had just finished, and I
Mm.
was like, "Could you do me a favor?" You
Oh,
remember that? Because it was just like a really yucky period, and I was just like,
yeah.
"Ah,
Yeah,
could
yeah.
you?" And you're like, "Yes."
I
I was like,
do.
"Oh,
Yeah, I
thank God you
do.
said yes." Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's other people's periods of transition that help us to transition ourselves,
Mhm.
right? It's one of those things where um because we care, because we're empathic and we can feel a lot of things that are not being said, communicated,
Mhm.
we're like, "Oh my gosh, we cannot leave this like this. We need to do something to
Yes.
help." So, it's a lot that everyone ends up going through, and at the end of it, because I know that was very uncomfortable for you, right?
It may have been, but the funny part about me is that the funny thing about me is that regardless of how uncomfortable something may be, when it's one of my loved ones, you know, I just do what I need to do. You know what I mean? It makes it easier for me to put that aside and do what I feel needs to be done. You know.
Yeah, and
And
I think
you, girl, I don't. Nobody better be messing with me. That's my first thing. I'm
you
like, I love
guys,
her. Nobody better be messing with her.
she is so protective. I just Apple message her, girl. She's like, "Ain't nobody better be messing with you."
That's right. That's right.
I was like, "I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No one's messing with me."
For real.
Yeah, no, it's a very beautiful thing where um knowing that even if you're going through something very, very intense, very, very dark, even if people don't understand it, there are people who are willing to sit beside you, stand ahead of you, and make sure the way is clear for you, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's what our community does for each other,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
know? Um, ooh, hold on. Amazing Process says, I greatly appreciated my reading, Ocean. I would like to know what I what? I don't know. I don't know what she's asking.
Can you clarify amazing process? And I'm happy that you appreciated your reading. I greatly appreciated my reading, Ocean. I would like to know what I was told. You wanted some of it. Okay. I remember your reading because as I started to shift the cards, I thought about how your name felt very relevant to what was about to come out. I was like, amazing process. It feels like you're in an amazing process. And the cards that came out validated all of that. And after my reading, Carmen had cards, validated all of that. But I think what I told you was because your reading was so good, girl. Your reading was talking about sacred wealth on Carmen's part and abundance and all that stuff. So essentially, amazing process. I think what I said was, let me hold something. I know you got it. That means, and I'm not being for real with that, but I get that from my dad. You just let me hold something. I know you got it. So it means, hey, you balling, girl. Let me hold something. I know you got it. But I don't mean it for real. That's happy for you. Transition. And she just talked about her reading. Her reading was one of transition, but all of her cards were like super duper, like this is like, whoa, it was really good stuff. I'm like, I want that for everybody. I want that for the collective, all of us.
Yeah, definitely. For all of
Mhm.
us.
Lexi, thank you. Y'all are so sweet.
Yeah,
Ah.
I love that.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all just the same because, the same things that we receive, a lot of the same things you guys give too. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to mention this, but we are talking about transition. And, I lost someone very close to me a few days ago. And I want to say thank you so much, Emmy. You've been wonderful. You've been so wonderful. Um, you didn't come out and say, hey, why don't you discuss what you why don't you discuss what's going on in your personal life? You didn't do any of that today, but yeah. So this is a time of transition for myself, for my family,
Yeah.
and it's like an invitation. It feels like there's a great loss, but also there's this great opportunity, you know? And I think that's about enough because I'm not trying to get emotional on camera.
Right. Well,
Yes.
oh. Well, okay, so here's the thing. When you had shared that with me, I immediately went into like mother hen mode, like clucking, get under my wing, get under my wing. The world is unsafe. Get under my dang
Oh, that's so
wing.
sweet.
And
That's so
I
much
was
in
like,
there.
yeah, no, we are. And I remember I was telling you, like, no, we're not doing any work for the next at least few days. And then you kept on and kept on. And that's why I ended up beating up the whole gym. I punished all the weights
Oh my God.
times. And then at one point, because I was getting frustrated, like, no, you're not going to just keep pushing through this like nothing happened. And
Yes.
then at one point, when I said that to myself, because I was like, how am I going to make you force you not to work? Like I could force you to do anything.
Right? We're too much alike. I know immediately you're like, uh-oh, mirror.
And then what's funny is Michael had said to me, huh, that's funny you're thinking that. And I was like, what's that mean? And he was like, because everyone told you to stop working for a little bit. And I
Wow.
was like, oh, wow, we could.
Michael is the great buster outer, right?
Mhm. So it became this thing of, excuse me, realizing it's not my place to love you in a way that limits you, that you need to be free to choose how to cope, and that I just need to support that, knowing that I've been through something similar. So it's like there was no other way for me to cope. So how could I ever expect you to have another way to cope too?
Ah,
Right?
thank you so much for everything. It's been so beautiful. And I felt that from you, like, it's okay. It's okay to feel. It's okay if you need to let it out. I felt all of that. And
Oh,
I thank you because even if you were feeling all of that, never did you ever impose. Ever.
I did one
You
time
know?
where I was like, "How are you?" And be for real this time, and don't be telling me I'm fine, and then asking me how I'm doing in my kid.
Hilarious.
Did you? I mean,
I know, right? That's my girl. I love Digi Emmy. Tell her I said hi. Every time I see her, she just makes me smile every time. Oh my gosh. Make sure you tell her I said hi. She always up to something.
but that's the thing, though. Like, I think we as people who love others, we need to begin really wrapping our minds around the truth that we cannot choose how someone will cope
Yeah,
through the process they're in,
it's true.
you
It's
know?
true. Yeah, it's
A
true.
person that I love deeply is in the process of something. He's going through a lot. And I've been so irritated with him. And I
Mm.
was, before you messaged me about this, I was like typing out, like, your coping mechanisms suck. I'm really tired of the way you cope, you toxic mofo. And then I was like, I can't. Don't start stuff, girl. Don't start stuff. And then you messaged, and I was like, oh,
Deep.
yeah. So
That's
it's
deep.
like, how some people, they think that it's this journey where you make these little minute movements, when in reality, the minute movements only come after you've swung wildly one way and then wildly the other,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So there's no such thing as the right way to cope.
Yeah.
There's healthy coping mechanisms,
Mhm.
and then there are coping mechanisms that create more complexity and struggle.
Yeah.
And really, it's all about, what do you want to choose for this experience?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that because that's something else I jotted down, just like just kind of typing. But that's what I jotted down also, like being empathic, loving one, having our loved ones and everything. We know that there are different ways of coping and everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
But there are also ways of coping that can be very self-destructive. And my question was something to the effect, you know what? I'm not going to guess. I want to go ahead and pull it. Let me pull this in because I know my mind. That's why I write things down. Okay, I know my mind. But let's see. Mhm. All right. Okay, yeah. So not trying to tell them that they're coping incorrectly. However, there can be some self destructive ways of coping. If you ever feel called to address that, how do you do that? When someone has coping mechanisms that you can see and feel are really self destructive, like to the point where it's concerning, you know?
Personally, I would pull the person aside privately.
Mhm.
There's just something that really irks me when someone tries to discuss things with you out in the open,
Yeah.
especially if you're a private person.
Yeah.
That I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
So I'd pull them aside privately and I would say, hey, what's up?
Mhm.
And of course, they're gonna be like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What's up? Well, I
Mhm.
just noticed a few things. Like, you feeling okay?
Mhm.
What's going on? And really let them decide how far they want that conversation to go. And
Yeah.
oftentimes what I'll get is someone will ask me, like, they'll share,
Mhm.
and then they'll ask me, and then I will say, well, I noticed a few things. I noticed you've been sad. I
Mhm.
noticed you've been doing X, Y, and Z. And when I get really sad and I can't tell people,
Mhm.
I tend to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just, like, I'm
Mhm.
here. If you want
Mhm.
to say anything, I'm here. And if the person is open to it, they will go very, very deep into it. And
Mm.
then you're going to receive that as an invitation to help them find other ways to cope.
Mm. I
If
like
they don't
that.
want to talk about it, you have to respect that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
have to just reiterate, well, I just want you to know I know what it feels like to
Yeah.
not feel like you can tell anyone anything. And if you ever want to say anything, I'm here.
Mhm.
And, I don't even have to say anything. I'm not going to lecture you. I think a lot of people don't want to share with others when they're going through a period of
Mhm.
transition,
Mhm.
because of the fact that they're afraid of how it will be received.
Yeah. And I can get that. I can get that. You know, there's someone who is a family friend, and wow, she lost her mother and her aunt. They were very close. The mother, the aunt, and her, they were very close. Like first it was the mother, and then like within days the sister died. The mother's sister died, like within, because they were so close. I think they came into this life to be together, and they left together basically.
Yeah.
But I don't know all of that, but I do know that I've never been through that. And she was telling me she was so happy that she saw me. She said, "This is the first time." She said, "You know what?" I said, "I'm going to put on some clothes and I'm going to actually go someplace. But it's not like we went anywhere just special. But she said that was the first time in so long she'd even just put on clothes to go somewhere. Right.
Wow.
And it made her so happy to taste the truffle. It
Ooh, girl.
made her so happy to taste the truffle. But she told me that she's like, I haven't been myself, and she said, I know I'm getting to the point where I need to get back to myself. She said, because it's starting to make me angry, but in all that she's been through, her spirit is so beautiful still. She's such a beautiful soul. But what I told her, I just hugged her and I told her, I don't have the words, because the truth is, I didn't have the words. I don't have the words. And even if I had lost my mother and my aunt, my journey will never be her journey. Her journey will never be my journey. So I'll never tell a person, I know what you're going through and this is what you need to do. No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what you're going through. And I don't know exactly what you need to do. But I do have empathy, and I'm here.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like to say instead of I know exactly what you're going through,
Mhm.
is I know what it could possibly feel like,
Yes,
you
yes,
know?
absolutely. And you said that to me, and I don't even know in those words, but I've never taken anything that you've said as any type of intrusion, because it not only does it come from a good space, but you really think about what you say to a person before you say it. And that can be helpful, guys, when somebody's going through something. You know, it doesn't even have to be the loss of someone special to them. They could be just in a time of great transition. They may not know what they're going to do. I think it's good for us to be mindful of our words, even as we're being empathic, empathetic, and showing that we care.
Yeah. One of the things that I often struggle through is when people who care about me deeply know that I'm going through something that I don't want to talk about
Mhm.
or I'm struggling to talk about, and then they'll try and force me into
Mhm.
conversation,
Yeah.
like asking and asking and asking. Oh, Lordy Lord.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know? I mean, yeah, there are times where it's like there's this part of me that wants to say what's going on.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to say it, and I'm very hesitant and uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And for someone that I really, really trust, it's usually pretty much just Frey.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
Frey can
And
do
I
this.
don't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah, where he can like just keep poking and poking and poking, and then finally I'll say it.
Yeah.
'Cause I want to say it. He knows I want to say, but I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like that where um, for many of us, even our good intentions as we're trying to support someone going through a transitionary period,
Mhm.
it's not always received in the way we would like.
Yeah.
And we can't take that personal. We shouldn't.
Mm-mm.
We
We
shouldn't.
can't. We can't, like you said, we can't and we shouldn't. And I think another thing is, and I may sound like a broken record, but my mind goes back to someone meaning well, but like trying to force a person through her process. And no, get up. You got to get up. You can't stay here. You can't. Okay, understandable, but you haven't been through what that person is going through like that. So it's like, just try to not impose, even if we mean well. Try not to impose. And if it gets to the point where it's really concerning, like you're really afraid for that person's life, I understand. That's something different. But even then, it's wise for us to watch what we say and how we say it.
I
Yeah.
remember when I used to have cycles of clinical depression.
Mhm.
A lot of people will say like, "Oh, I feel depressed." That's not the same as clinical
Yeah,
depression.
not the
It's
same.
a
Yeah.
very different, very, very different experience.
Mhm.
And I remember, people would get very, very concerned, and there were things that were said where it was like, You just got to stop being so sad. Like, you choose to be this sad? Do you really think someone
Mm,
chooses that experience, right?
right, right.
I understand I understand the intention behind it, right? Like, it's a good intention. It's set out of love, out of concern, out of desperation.
Mhm.
But it does not have a good effect. You know,
Right.
if we're not aware of the way our words could potentially be received, I think the best course of action is to simply ask them if you could give them a hug and let them know you can listen because you
Absolutely.
don't know what to say.
Yeah, yeah. And you say something that makes me think of something else too, because there's so many different parts. There's so many different moving parts, different dimensions. And not everyone is as empathic and perceptive as you may be. Not everyone may have the emotional intelligence you may have. So while you know that what they said came from a good place, somebody may be in their process and not have the resources, internal resources, or even energy to really interpret and know that it's coming from a good place. And you can mean absolutely nothing but their best, but they may lash out on you, and they really may take what you said personally. Mhm.
Yes. And another thing we need to consider, excuse me, there are many people who have never had a genuine, loving, kind person in their life.
Yes, yes.
And if you have someone who you care about and that person has a history of people using them,
Yep.
people maltreating them,
Yes.
narcissistic
Mhm,
encounters,
mhm,
prolonged
mhm,
experiences with narcissistic
mhm,
individuals,
mhm.
your concern can be seen as a potential threat.
Hmm. A potential threat, and also it's like not just a threat, but actually a whole damn strike. You gotta watch it
Mhm.
because you don't know. Sometimes you don't always know who you're dealing with and what you're dealing with. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's not funny. But I'm thinking about two instances in which, I was trying to be just, supportive of everything. It's like, get your hands out my pocket. I'm like, whoa, whoa. But that's real. Cause like you said, there's some people who've never had anybody to genuinely care. And then when there's someone who is like you or who is like me or many people in our soul fam, then it's like that's foreign to them. It's like you must want something from me. You must have bad intentions, or you might even be projecting. You know what I'm saying? I think you know what? I think you want this from me. I think you want me to be in a bad space. I think so you don't know what you're dealing with all the time.
It's hard because you think you know someone, but you don't know them until you witness them, neck deep in trauma that's been triggered to the surface.
That's so true. That
You
is so
really don't know a person until you see that. And
that is
even then, you still might not know who they
still
are.
exactly. That's so true.
Yeah.
To bring something up because this was an interesting experience. It was Lisa that asked about the transition in student, and we're talking about transitions. And I will talk about somebody that I lost the other day. But K33 CP, guys, is such a special place. It's such a special place. I'm the kind of person I feel deeply. I feel very deeply. Those I love, those I care about, I feel very deeply. You know, if I don't care about you like that, then I'm not gonna just hate you. But all I can say is there are levels to my levels, right? So I was in K33 CP class the other day, and we were doing this exercise. And usually I'm really focused on the exercise. I couldn't focus on the exercise because my mind kept going to the person that I didn't know that I would lose that day, but I kept feeling the person so strongly. And during the exercise, my mom was taken to her, and it's like we had a beautiful moment. It was so beautiful. And not only could I feel myself with her, I could feel her going through her life. Like I could
Mhm.
feel that moment where you're just thinking about all of your life, you know, and you're asking people to forgive you that, you know, you feel need forgiveness. You feel what you would want the forgiveness, if that's your paradigm. It may not be everybody else's paradigm, but I felt that in her, right? Because she was a person who was full of love and care, but the way she expressed it might not be how everybody else expresses it, right? And as I got older, I understood her so much more, you know. But we had such a beautiful moment, and you know, I could feel her like settling things with people in the spirit. I could feel her with her process, even though she wasn't responsive, she was very much active. I could feel it. And it was such a beautiful moment. And I could feel her, you know, here she was telling me goodbye, but I was with her, but she was telling me goodbye. And like I said, I didn't know she was gonna die that day. Like consciously, I didn't know she was gonna die that day. I went to check out a few things for the organization, and on my way back from the second place, or from the third place, you know, second. So on the way back, I was on my way back home, and I saw that I had missed a call. I was about to call back, but I got a call. And I received the information that she had died, you know. It's my grandmother, guys. It's my grandmother, one of my grandmothers. So, you know, I'm so thankful for the time that I had with her. And I'm thankful that even though she's transitioned, I know she's about to be a beautiful addition to the beautiful things I already have for me in the energetic, in the other realms. So yes.
Do you want to know what you experienced with
Yes, please.
her? um wow, the accuracy of it.
Mm,
Yeah. Typically what happens when people transition out of physical form is they are taken to a screening room,
mm.
and it's 360 screen. It's all the way around you, and you see
Wow.
every
Yes.
single event of your life.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly as you described. You're allowed to feel exactly how you made others feel with every given
mm,
word, decision, action, lack thereof,
mm,
silence, whatever it is. And you come to terms with a lot of these different things. Most people will go through this over the course of months, right?
mm.
Human months. They'll
Wow.
need time to really think about things and go deep into that specific situation, and then they'll make peace with that.
Yeah.
She went through it rapidly,
Yeah. Wow.
very rapidly.
Wow.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's very, very powerful. And
You have permission to share with me anything you feel to share with me. Whether it's about me, you know, anything about you, whatever. I'm open to it.
she chose to depart during that time in class because she needed you present.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
That's deep.
She was
Oh,
afraid of what she would see.
oh, that makes so much sense. Bless her heart. Oh, I'm so honored. Emmy, thank you so much. I'm so honored. She had a very hard life.
Mhm.
She had a very, very hard life. But that little woman that I'm shaped like, that I look like, that little woman had strength that, look, she withstood things in her life that would have taken the average person out, myself included, and I'm strong, you know? Yeah.
Well, the reason she pulled you into that experience is because you're the strongest person she knows.
Oh, I love her. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Grandma. Love you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not just in human form, but in all of the creation she's experienced.
oh, wow. That's an honor. That's
Yeah.
such an honor.
She saw your strength and your power beyond just the human form.
Wow.
So you basically walked her home.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet because you know what? during the exercises. I'm so glad we weren't on camera. I would have turned the camera off and just done audio that day if we would have had to be on camera. But all my mind kept thinking of is, I don't want her to die alone.
Yeah, she didn't. You
Yeah.
definitely were there, so a huge part of you was fractionated, and then an even larger part triggering your awareness of you being pulled into another experience.
Oh, that's so precious. That's so precious.
Yeah.
Because I know everything happens for a reason. When I went home, like I was home overnight, and then the very next morning, my father had to be rushed to the ER. He got really sick. Nobody was there with her because she was living with them because she had lived independently like all of her life until almost the very end. Towards the very end, she had to have help, right?
Mhm.
So nobody was there, and I happened to be home visiting. The plan was to see the family members, but I think I know if that happened for a reason. That happened purposely so we could have that time. Because that was the last time I saw her. And she remained sharp, so long and everything. But she was so grateful, so thankful. She was so grateful, so thankful. That's another thing, guys. I want to say, when people that we love pass, it always it's not like it just feels good, but I to me it feels good to know that while they were here, we did what they could. We did what we could for them. We loved them. We were kind to them. We respected them. We always, prioritized their dignity and respect. So I'm so honored. That made me so happy. That made me so happy. Oh my gosh, that made me so happy. I don't know if you saw her, but yeah, that's who I look like. That's who I'm shaped like. We're almost the same height. See, little hips, everything.
Girl, she just reminded me that she is aware of my comment about your toddler waist.
That's where I got it from. That's where I got it from. And you know what? She would look at me and she said, she said, look at Miss Such and Such. She would call her first name. Look at Miss Such and Such. Look at little Miss Such and Such, calling her first name, right?
Yeah.
So yes, that's where the toddler waist comes from. That little toddler waist. She had the big old hips and bow legs walking. It was spicy little something too.
She says she's so spicy.
Yeah, she's spicy.
Yeah.
She's spicy. Yeah.
I mean, she has so much respect for you.
Oh,
So much.
as do I for her. As do I for her. Oh my gosh. It's something because I didn't know when the services or anything would be because we didn't know anything yet. We had to wait on certain processes for this transition. Sometimes you got to hurry up and wait, right? So, Emmy, shortly before it's time to start, I got the information about when it would be. I'm like, you know what? I can't deal with this right now. I'm not going to be on screen crying and all that stuff. But it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It definitely is because I was actually wondering that before we started. Like,
Wow.
is this girl really not going to tell me when she needs to? She's going to pretend like she doesn't need to go anywhere because I'm about to shut down all the websites.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I
And
was literally thinking of that.
no,
Yeah.
girl, don't you dare. Don't you dare. And there's still the things that I can do, I can still do. It's all right. And you know me. Like I won't say that a lot of people know me on an emotional level like that, but you know me on an emotional level, and for the most part. And if I feel like something ever gets too bad, I'll tell you. I'm stubborn as hell. I know when it comes to certain things.
Mhm.
Guys, I was sick and I was trying to deal with everything, but everything was so fast processing all of these different things. So I was dealing with it, dealing with it. Then I
Mhm.
just went ahead and said, you know what, girl, hey, you work, hey, if you feel like, go ahead, please. Within days, guys. Even that same day, I felt so much better, but within days, just restored, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. If what did you
Stubborn Nina.
Stubbornina? Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Nina. Amy Stubborn Nina Nikolina something.
Stubbornina Nikolina
Yeah.
or something like that. I was like,
Yeah, that's it.
I was like, no, she did not address me as
You did.
but you're just a stubborn. That's the thing, you
I
know?
know.
Yeah. Like, remember that time we had that event and I was like, girl, are you sick? Why are you wearing a mask in my car? And Frey and I looked at each other like, get her out of the car.
It was so funny, guys. It was so funny because I knew if they talked to me, it was gonna be off. I already knew it, but I'm like, nah, I can do it. I just don't need to be talking. I just can't use my voice, but I can work. So we had to do something, and so then I was texting like information. I was like, and I was like, no, I'm good. I just can't talk right now, but I'm good. I just
Yeah.
you're like,
I just have to rest my voice.
yeah.
Are you singing later? Like, girl, you sound like death.
They were not trying to pull off. I had to almost beg him because her husband is just as stubborn as her. I am getting them twin roles. I'm gonna do it. They don't know when I'm gonna do it, but they stubborn as hell, y'all. So then stubborn as all get out. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to do that. They're stubborn as all get out. So we were right in the driveway. I'm like, man, if I don't fully convince them that I'm okay, we're not gonna move. We actually didn't move for a few
Girl,
moments. I
you
was
know
like,
why?
good.
You know why, right? We are parked in her driveway and my husband is in the front driver's seat. He's looking at me like, "You gonna drag her out? Do I need to drag her out?" And I'm just looking at him like, "She can fight." I'm just like, "She can fight." I'll tell you right now. You pull me in the car, I'm throwing hands, elbows, and knees. I'll just sit right here on my phone. Keep
That's hilarious. Now, that day, yeah, yeah, I could fight that day, but a couple of days after that, I
no.
would have been good to fight for nothing. Whoa, that
Yeah.
is so funny.
Yeah, I was just like, "Mhm." And then I was gonna tell you, you gotta find a different way to cope because you gotta stop asking me every day if any of us are sick with you, girl. We are not sick.
You needed to make sure because I felt so bad because I just felt okay. I'm getting sick, a little something, something. Oh, I got to deal with this, internal process because it was a lot for me to process when I went home. So, things happened really quickly with a lot of stuff, but I was like, yeah, that just lowered my defenses, so maybe more susceptible to stuff. Usually, I can fend it off. I'm gonna be all right in a few days. But I felt so bad once I found out how sick I was, and not only it was contagious. You know, I had COVID and had laryngitis, but I wanted to make sure everybody was okay. I'm like, oh my God, for me to feel like I could make somebody else sick, especially a loved one. So yeah, I kept asking like all the time, y'all good? No sniffles, no nothing. It's like, no, girl, we got a thing going on. We got a regimen going on. We got such and such. Okay, y'all good? I'm so happy. Yes, no sniffles, no nothing.
I
Okay.
know.
She's like,
She would go down her list of the different symptoms. Yeah, I'm like, "Girl, and nobody's sick in this house. Leave us be."
right. That is hilarious. But no, seriously, the things that I could do, in the meantime, phone and computer, everything is good. Like if anything gets to the point where I feel like, you know, I need a little moment, I'll let you know. Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to let me know because everything's gonna be disconnected.
Oh my God. I can't. I can't with her. I cannot with her.
Yeah,
You can't say anything. You can't say anything.
you
You
can't.
can't say anything.
You can't. 'Cause you remember you were, like, messaging and messaging and messaging on Facebook, and Frey's like, "I thought you said that she's not supposed to." "Ignore it, honey. Keep lifting."
No.
Just ignore it. Just keep lifting. Just
No,
do whatever
this is
she's
the
doing.
perfect time. This is the perfect opportunity because slots are going to fill up. We need to get in there. If we can get in there, And she's like, I'm going to ignore you until such and such. I'm like, no, I'm good. We can do this. We need to secure these places.
Like, I'm done.
I know. All of you.
Oh my gosh, Lisa. Oh my
Oh,
girl. Who we need to beat up, Lisa? Tell us.
not the Muppet.
Girl,
Not the Muppet.
she doesn't sound like a Muppet.
Some people do, though. Some people do. Lisa, do you really sound
No,
Lisa?
she doesn't, because
You
I've
sound like
spoken
a
to
Muppet.
her. I've had a session with her.
She doesn't sound like a Muppet.
Does not sound like a Muppet.
Well, Lisa, that's good because some people do. It doesn't make it a bad thing. It just makes it a true thing. It's a part of life. Some people sound like Muppets. They do.
Oh, because she had COVID.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry. I got triggered there because there's some people that sound like a Muppet even without COVID.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Who said that about you?
Don't let them be a little pompous. Little pompous Muppet.
My bad. So, okay, let's there was some stuff that I had seen. Um, Gaze asked, are transitions the best time to have a private mentorship with Emmy?
Mm,
Um, Honestly, any time is a good time to have a private session with me. If we try and, calculate things to the T like that, they tend to not work out. First, because my schedule is insane. And
mm,
secondly, because we don't have control in that way. What I have found though is that when people choose to be patient and wait for their session, because sometimes, people need to have it sooner than what I can do. What ends up happening is their session ends up lining up with when they're in a transitionary period, anyways. So,
mm,
whatever they thought the issue was when they booked the session, by the time we get to their actual session date, their scheduled appointment, so much has happened. And then they're like, you know what? I thought it was that, but that was nothing compared to what's happening now. So,
mm,
everything really just works out, excuse me, in the most amazing synchronistic way possible. It
mm.
always does that way. This is another good one. Does it matter how long a person has transitioned for your spiritual communications um,
Wow.
session? No, it
That's a
could be a long time ago. It could be just yesterday. It doesn't matter how long. What does matter is their willingness to communicate.
mm, that's deep. For people who don't know, some people may be listening in, or watching for the first time. What is the spiritual bridge communication session? What is that, please?
It's where I serve as a bridge for you to communicate with someone who has transitioned out of the body.
Mm,
I'm able to see and hear and feel. I'm able to access things that um, most people cannot access. And so I use those abilities to give you clarity on whatever it is your loved one wants clarity for.
mm,
Oftentimes we hurt and hurt and hurt because of the communications, the treatment that we received or didn't receive while they were still in body. And it's very common for when someone transitions out of body to understand the gravity of the way they treated you
mm,
when during life they didn't understand.
yeah.
And then comes all the, communication of why they did what they did, their realizations, how much you really mean to them, all of these different things. It's a very profound experience for people who choose to have that type of session with me.
Mm,
Very, very profound. Um, and it doesn't always happen exactly as the way that we're wanting. Sometimes, rather than say your mom, instead a grandma will come forward,
mhm,
or an aunt or something, because maybe your chosen loved one that you wanted to speak to is a little bit shy,
mm,
or they're ashamed of the way they treated you, and they don't know how to communicate this.
Wow.
So I leave it very much open to um, what your loved ones want to do. Sometimes it's even someone who was a loved one in a previous life, not this one.
That's deep.
So yeah, yeah. Lisa had a lot of people come through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Anyone that I've talked to that's had that session, anyone, everybody has just been, it's like it just was so meaningful to them,
yeah.
so meaningful. And I think that we had a podcast one time and people were sharing their experiences a little bit. And I remember I just felt moved to gift someone with that session. And oh my gosh, let me tell you, that beautiful elder was just so happy. It made him so happy.
Oh, I know.
Yes. He just loves Emmy so much. Oh my gosh. But yeah, and it was just it's just like what it did for him and what it seems to do for anybody that has experienced it that I talk to. It's just wonderful, you know. And remember, guys, you can gift those sessions if you want to. You know, you can gift it to yourself, you can gift it to someone else, but it's a very, very beautiful thing to be able to just it's another way of showing our care and love, right? And sometimes if somebody you feel is really struggling through the transition of death or a transition, it doesn't have to be a fresh death, it can be a transition. And they maybe feel like they would like to communicate, like to have a little bit of that communication from those who watch over them. That's a beautiful option.
Yeah. There's quite a few comments that I would love to share with you guys. So Gaze says the spiritual bridge communication really opens up a door to gaining closure or answers we did not have when our loved ones were in vessel. It's worth
Mm,
a try. It can give you answers.
wow.
And if they're not willing to answer, this is an important comment. Village Baby says, I love my experience with it, even though some information you just can't have to gain access for your own good.
Mm, mm,
Yeah. It's one of those things where sometimes what you want to know is going to hurt you more. And
mm,
that's not for me to decide.
right.
It's never for me to decide. I'm not in control of these.
Mhm,
But the loved one will withhold the information sometimes.
mhm,
That's not as common, but if it's not in your best interest, they're not going to share it. They're
mhm,
just not going to share it. Sometimes they'll explain, sometimes they'll just leave it at that.
mm,
But it's not an easy decision that your loved one comes to withhold information that they know you really really want. It
mhm,
has to be something very kind of like detrimental, and then they won't share it.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
respectable. That's
yeah.
respectable.
And I always honor the sovereignty of the loved ones that come forward, you
Mhm,
know Um, Lisa says, for me, I had some people I wasn't even expecting come forward, learned a lot, felt a lot, emotional, beautiful.
mm.
Yeah. Those sessions are potent.
Yeah.
They're very, very potent because it's this thing where the things that they can't say and they need you to know, I'm able to give clarity on that because I can very effectively, efficiently communicate concepts without them needing to use words because I can feel what they feel. They
Mhm,
show me the parts of their life that they're referencing, and then it becomes this thing of, oh, I get it. And I'll ask them, do you mean blah blah blah? And usually it's something that's so potent they can't even answer me. They're just like,
oh, that's so
and I'm
sweet.
like, okay, we will let them know. And it gives a lot of clarity for the loved one that's still here, to know that it wasn't what they thought.
Mhm,
They really have been loved this whole time, but their person just didn't know how to show healthy love in life,
mm,
because many of us don't. That's the reality of it.
mhm,
Many of us don't. Many of us have only learned how to express and give, unhealthy love,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's not really something that we need to hold against ourselves or hold against other people.
Yeah.
It's something that we need to find a way to heal that, to bridge that gap
Yeah.
between the potential and the reality.
Yes. Oh gosh. Wow. Two things you make me think of. Wow. That's really deep. I'm really glad that you offer that service because yeah, that's really woo. As you were talking, I thought about an experience that I had the other day in the class. And that's one thing I could feel like I understand now. It's like I know now. I understand. I didn't know then, but I understand now. Like I could feel her understanding it all.
Mhm.
And guys, I didn't have a spiritual bridge communication session full blown just with Emmy just now, but you saw it even in that small little instance that not small. I don't mean to say small, not to minimize anything. That it was relatively brief, but if you think she can say that because Emmy's never seen my grandmother physically, not that one. She's seen the other one physically, right? But that one, she's never seen her physically. So one of the first things she said, talking about the waist, whatever, and it's like, that's her. But Emmy is so on it. Like when I tell people about you, Emmy, one thing that I tell people is that she doesn't poke around trying to guess and trying to suggest. She knows. She knows, and it's just a beautiful knowing. It's not an arrogant knowing. It's not a hey, I know and you need to learn type knowing. It's a beautiful knowing, and it's just an invitation always.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to dive deeper into it, I'm open. If not, that's okay too.
Mhm.
And that's the thing is that I didn't know you share the same body type. As you know, you've never shown me that family member. But
Mhm.
it was this thing of she was just like, she's aware that I said you have a toddler waist. I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. That was so rude for me to say to you. Because we were joking around and I was like, you
What?
little toddler waist, you.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that she mentioned that because you share the same body type.
We do. Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
And when you began saying that, I was like, oh my God, I offended her too.
Oh no, you ain't offend her, girl. She
No,
loves
she was
you with a
laughing.
Cocoa bottle shape.
Yeah. She was laughing. She was proud of it.
That's
She
so
did
cute.
say that. That's an amazing figure your family has, I'm saying. That's
Thank
so
you.
cute. Yeah. No, it was very it was a very nice feeling when kind of just like that poking like I heard about the toddler waist. I was like
Funny.
yeah, I didn't know that she had it
That
too when
is
I
so
realized that.
hilarious. That's so funny. That is so funny because when that was? That was the night we did the fundraiser.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was a couple of days before she passed. Isn't that something?
Yeah. No, it was fairly recently
Yeah,
that we had that conversation.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, family, well, not just family, really, all the information I come across, most of it doesn't make sense to me. I'm kind of just like, oh, well, they're talking about this. Or like one time, I had a client, I don't remember who it is now, but I was like, hey, so your family keeps talking about Bambi. Like,
Oh.
what's that mean? I don't know what that means.
Mhm,
And well, it wasn't a client, it was a friend
mhm.
years ago before I ever live streamed. And I was like, your family is bringing up Bambi. I don't know what it means. Like, is it like the Disney movie, the little deer? Like, I don't get it. And that person just broke down in tears because they were like, oh my gosh, you're
Mm.
talking to my mom. And I was like, oh, is that your mom? Because
Oh,
this person didn't show themselves to me.
yeah.
And I was just like, there's some type of family or something, but they keep showing Bambi, the word Bambi. And when her mom was a child, she had a pet deer that was found. They rescued and rehabilitated a little baby
Oh,
deer. and she named it Bambi. And I
Oh,
was like, "Oh,
wow.
yeah." So that's how she knew it was her mom. I mean,
Mm,
I just give whatever information I'm given. It doesn't have to make sense to me. It's
yes.
just like whatever it means to you. I don't know what it means,
Yes.
but yeah, it's a very interesting experience for me personally.
Mm.
Yeah, because literally, like 90% of the time, I have no idea what they're sharing.
You may not 90% of the time, but people do.
Yeah, no,
People,
they
people know
yes,
that.
they do.
Wow. And the things that you say is like, it just, okay, like, oh, wow. Like,
Yeah.
she, wow. Like, I haven't thought about that in years, but that's exactly what that is. Or is
Hmm.
that's exactly what he or she said?
Yeah. Oh,
It's, it's,
the one of the funniest ones was the first twin that I found. Uh, he thought that I was like a hacker troll or something like that, and I was trying to troll him because he's a hacker troll. Talk about projection, Twinny. You know?
okay.
And then he's not really into spiritual topics, and he had an uncle that took care of him, and his uncle passed. He didn't really tell me too much, and I was like, "Hey, I think your uncle is trying to talk to you." And he's like, "What do you mean?" So he thought I was trolling him. And I was like, "I don't know, but there is this man that is totally like, he looks like Familia,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he got a thick mustache, and he keeps saying, Mickey, Mickey. Now, my twin's name is not Mickey.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, like, were you into Mickey Mouse or something?" He goes, "No." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. Maybe it's a demon. I don't know. There's some man with a thick mustache. He's wearing, one of those, we call them wife beaters in
Mm-hmm.
California, that white tank top.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps saying, Hey, Miggy, Miggy. And he goes, Oh, my uncle used to call me Miggy, Miguelito. And I was like,
Oh.
Oh, well, can you tell him to leave me alone? Because it's been a week. He
That's
keeps
hilarious.
telling me Miggy. Yeah,
That is so deep.
yeah.
Guys, what about when we were in it wasn't a soul thing. We were just listening to a live stream and somebody busted out. She kept asking about Cody. So you ended up saying, is somebody named Cody in the audience? Cody, Cody,
Girl,
Cody,
stop.
Cody.
Stop. 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 You are being an agent of Marlene's darkness right now. Stop. She
Marlene.
put you up to that. You didn't even know. Stop. Stop. Marlene, stop.
It is
She's
so
like, I haven't said a word.
funny. She's being so good. It wasn't you, Marlene. It was me. But it's something because like, but it wasn't the first time. She came back and she asked about so like we were actually in the audience trying to figure like no Daniel, I think she said, because it's like Cody and Daniel, I think she said in the audience, whatever, different. Because I'm like, well, I have a brother named Daniel, I have a sister named such and such, and I have a cousin named, people were like, well, it could be me. I have a such and such, but it wasn't. And then, like, little by little, more and more, I'm not necessarily going to say little by little, but as far as what she shared with us in the audience and everything, we came to see. And now she's a regular. Now it's Marlene. So, guys, if you're new to this and you don't know about Emmy's mediumistic abilities, Marlene is a perfect example of, of those abilities.
Yeah, yeah, Marlene. She came in like requesting I sing happy birthday with soul. I'm like, how would
No, no, no. She told you, she said more bluesy. Didn't
oh,
she say?
more bluesy. How do I do that? Yeah, and then and what's interesting, she would not show me her face for a very long time.
Wow.
She would not show me her face because, there's a striking resemblance. Yeah, so she wouldn't show me her face, she would always obscure it, and I'm like, "Why are you why you keep talking to me? Hiding your face." Like, "I'm gonna taser you soon." To. At which point Michael went between us. He pushed her behind him. He's like, "You can't touch this one."
Oh,
Like, oh, that's how we roll now, Michaela. Yeah. So I didn't get to taser her.
that's so deep. That's so deep.
Yeah.
Oh boy, guys, do y'all remember that
She
stream?
this lady is looking straight at you and is like, "Would you taser me now?" And she's looking at you like you wouldn't let her taser me.
Wow,
Girl.
that is something deep.
Yes. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Something deep.
I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah.
Guys, if you were in the episode that time where the lights just surrounded me, when Marlene actually came over here. No, no, no. It's a different one. Marlene came over here one time, but that's not the one I'm thinking about. I asked Emmy because all I kept hearing was first Marlene was talking, right? And then all of a sudden I heard, okay, let me back up. First, Marlene was talking to Emmy for a long time. She was like really talking to Emmy, really talking to Emmy. So Emmy was like, having a conversation with her. But at some point during the podcast, I just heard. And so I didn't ask Emmy on screen. I text her, I messaged her on Facebook. I was like, "Am I tripping, or did you put or is Marlene in a box or something? Because I just hear this like muzzle." she had sedated Marlene and put her in a box, and I'm so glad she told me yes, because I'm like, "Am I tripping? What is this like?"
I didn't hurt her though.
No, she didn't hurt her. She didn't.
I didn't hurt anyone's mother. I
No,
just
in the
sedated her and put her in a box. She's out of hand. Take over the whole podcast, and I was
And
just
she was
like,
feeling so good, wasn't she? You sedated her real nicely.
I did. I put her on a nice lounger. I did. I mean, I still kept her comfortable. I mean, I'm not disrespectful like that. But I put her in a box.
She was taking over the podcast that day. That was so funny. Marlene is so funny.
She,
We all love her.
oh, she says she's never been so wholeheartedly loved the way I wholeheartedly love her.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, that's so
Okay.
sweet. I love that.
Well, she says she's been wholeheartedly loved by one other person. Yeah,
That's sweet. That's a beautiful thing.
it is. But I'm not singing happy birthday. La Bamba because yo no soy marinero.
Capitán, soy capitán.
She says I need some margarita. No, no,
She said, "You need some margarita."
no. She said I need to have some margaritas and specific records playing.
Wow, that's deep. Now, when they from the other side tell you you need to chill out and have a drink, that's major, Emmy. I'm gonna need you to relax, okay? I'm gonna need you to relax, girl.
She says, correction, they have to be virgin margaritas.
Okay, that's right, because it's
I
like Marlene, she doesn't drink, so
She likes that about me. I'm clean.
that's
She's
right. That's a beautiful
I like how
thing.
sweet you are. She goes, I like
That's a beautiful thing. Yes.
yeah.
Don't
I'm
need
very
the alcohol. Just nice life vibes. Yes, for sure.
so she's showing me she's she's sipping on, I'm assuming that's like a dry martini. I don't know. I don't drink, so I don't know. It looks like a martini glass with water and an olive on a toothpick. So that's a martini, right? She's sipping on it and she's like, "Tell them how you can fight."
She's so cute. She's so cute.
um,
Hey,
so I can fight.
as well. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. You can be pretty. You can, have your little nice whatever, but you got to know how to lay hands. Okay, it's a good thing.
saying my hands are delicate. I need them for work. You probably knees first.
My hands are totality. They're ready to eat too, so
Everybody can catch.
that's right.
She, I don't know what she's trying to get at. I don't know.
You know, I should have had my water. I would have had my water had I known you were going to start talking about. Can I have some?
Just saying.
Because I need to drink some water and mind my business. Because I think I may have an idea of why she said that.
None of my business either, though. I'm saying.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, and she goes, she loves when I get spicy and my eyebrow goes up. I
Isn't she so cute?
gotta start looking like this.
No,
All
it's
right.
gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Yeah. So can I ask you a question too? Because we talked about the spiritual bridge communication session, but there's something else that came to my mind. Oh, guys, if you don't know, Emmy also does past life readings.
Yeah.
Like, guys, you don't know. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
You want to hear something?
Yes.
Typically, when you enter into a transitionary period, that's because another aspect of a previous life is being launched forward in your template.
Wow, that's deep.
Hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's really deep. Mm.
That's why you go through that transition and become a different you.
Yeah.
It's because more of that specific lifetime aspects from your character during that lifetime is being brought forward.
That makes so much sense. Ooh, that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah. Sometimes when people have past life readings with me, it gives clarity on the cycle they're in. And that's why they need that past life reading.
Mmm, girl. Let me ask you a question. What was two things, if it's okay for you to share? My first question is, what was the most interesting spiritual bridge communication session that you ever had? Like, how was that? My second one, like, if you can, like, generally. And the second question is, what was the most interesting past life reading you ever did? Because you do a lot of readings, girl.
I do.
Yeah.
The Marlene's like, Marlene is the most interesting spiritual bridge communications ever.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Wow. We got a chance to experience that. Like, we of the soul fam, we in the audience, we've had the chance, not to the depths and everything to the degree you have, but we got a chance to experience a lot of you communicating with her, you know, and even the transformation of your reaction to her and receptivity and your relationship with her. It's been a beautiful transition too.
Yeah, she knew that she would need to wear me down. You hear that?
Dude, what is that? Is that something? Is she doing something, or is that like the dog?
This girl, she knew she had to wear me down. And so she literally would not leave and has not left for like a year and a half now. She sits there watching me sleep. She's one of the first things I see when I wake up. She's just
Oh.
nonstop. I
Oh.
can only be rebellious for so long before I'm like, yes, good morning, Marlene. Have you eaten yet?
Did she ever come here with coffee?
She tells me I shouldn't drink it.
Huh? What do you say?
She tells me I shouldn't drink it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's so cute. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
She knows I'm sensitive to caffeine. She like is so meticulous in the way she catalogs all my little quirks.
You gotta love her though. You got like
Mhm.
she really does, doesn't she? Like for somebody to say that, because girl, you know you can't even have an espresso truffle.
That's what she was talking about.
My
I
gosh.
was gonna taste the truffle, and she goes, "You're gonna mess yourself up."
She's right, but they're so
And I was
good.
like, it's just chocolate." And she goes, at which point I've just barely recovered from the truffle.
Right, right. Hey, she's coming with all that wisdom, all
Mhm.
that wisdom.
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
the mm-hmm.
she
Uh-oh.
she says, "There's 2 tells in my face that there's gonna be trouble. I have 2 tells," she says.
Oh, okay. So she knows what they are. She's so cute.
There
She's
she goes, "There, it's right there." She says, "This little thing, I can't help but half smirk."
Oh.
And then my eyebrow goes up.
Mm-hmm. She knows.
It says it's the wickedness rising.
Wow, she's been observing you for a long time. And it even makes me wonder how long she was observing you before she actually, you know, made her presence um undeniable. I won't even say known, but just undeniable. Many
She
lifetimes, probably.
says since she passed.
Oh,
Ooh,
wow. Thank you for answering, Marlene. You're so sweet.
wow.
That's deep. Whoa. And that transition also. Transition. And to assist with transitions.
So there's been this being that I assumed it was like a guide or guard or something that I just never acknowledged. It's been her that whole time. Wow.
Oh, that's sweet.
Stalkerish too.
Stalker is just so funny. You know what? I think that's probably one reason I don't really like to see with my eyes. Because, first of all, I'm private. Okay, I know that there are no real boundaries, as far as, this is just a wall. These are just, but I don't think I want to see you while I'm,
Oh no, she doesn't leave the room or turn around when I'm changing.
see.
Shower. I was in the bathtub earlier, like butt booty naked, and she's sitting at the edge of the tub, like, "What are we gonna talk about today?"
It's so funny. See, it's like, okay, I can know you're there. I can know you're there, but for me to see you, like with my eyes, like, I, I'm trying to shower. I don't know.
I got used to it. Many things have seen me with no clothes on at this point. I'm just kind of like, "Oh, hey, have a seat. I'm almost done."
It's hilarious. Like, okay, I know you're there, but I'm good on seeing you because I know you're there, but I don't need to see you seeing me. Like that. Oh my goodness.
See, Queen of Hearts doesn't find that weird. I don't find it weird anymore either.
I don't think it's weird. I just think it's something that I think I'm personally good on. I don't think it's weird at all. Even my
Yeah.
grandma, she used to see spirits and everything. And a lot of people, it's so funny because she was very, 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 very superstitious. She had all these little quirks and everything, but she knew what she knew. She knew what she knew.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, they don't really want to believe that they have the knowing that they have.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know I don't. Half the time I pretend that I'm just imagining Marlene.
Mm-mm. You cannot pretend. I don't even know how you could even try to pretend that you're imagining Marlene. Like, if you don't know it, everybody in the darn audience knows it. It's
But,
like, Dean's here.
just a couple, I want to say it hasn't been that long. I've actually grown to really enjoy a lot of the what would I call it? interrogations that she performs on me. She asks
Oh,
me lots of questions, but she's been so fascinated about the morphogenetic work that I do.
that's
Uh,
wonderful.
she, for some reason, she's interested, I think, in what is it called? It starts with an A. It's like Parkinson's.
Mm.
I forget what the heck she was. She's like, I forget what it is, but she's been asking me a lot of questions about all sorts of different conditions that modern medicine has not found.
Hmm.
What is it called?
I, it's interesting that you say that because I think I remember
It's not Alzheimer's.
about
Did I just pull out a letter out of nowhere? Because she's just laughing at me.
it.
But no, there's these conditions that she talks about, and she asked me all of these questions, and so it really furthers a lot of my speculation of how to correct that energetically.
Mm.
So I like it.
Yeah.
After she began asking all those questions, I began to be like, okay, what else you want to know? I think that's how she worked her way in, is what it is.
It could be, but I wonder also if she is going to be working with you um, on working on that particular condition. Because Emmy, I actually remember she asked the question, and that could have been what it was. Not to me, like she actually asked, like she typed it. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Definitely today sometime. I'll um I'll ask you if that's what it is.
Okay. Typed it like how she likes to take over my phone sometimes.
Mm-mm.
No.
She actually asked on Twitter.
Oh yeah, no, that's she took over my phone.
No, mm-mm.
No.
I know she did that too, but no, she was still embodied when she asked.
Yeah, no, she sometimes will go on my phone and she'll put in search terms. And yeah.
She's so cute. What about when she friend requested you? Now that was so funny. Marlene is hilarious.
She didn't friend request me. She made sure that her profile popped up on people that I might know,
Oh, people that you might
so that I
know.
could friend request her. And I was like, honey, I don't know who runs your page no more, but it's not you.
She's so funny. Oh my gosh. What can you do? What can you do? Oh man. I'm gonna find that. Do we have any questions from the soul fam out there?
There was something that I wanted to share. This right here. Do our actions on the earthly plane keep the transitioning souls in that holding place longer than it should? No, no, it
Mm,
doesn't. That's a choice that the soul makes. So you, once a soul chooses to go, it can go. There are some who are so restricted still by their beliefs while they were human that they can't anymore. Um, well, not that they can't anymore. They they can't allow themselves to accept what has happened, and so they end up staying much longer than what they need to. But again, that's a choice because they don't want to face things. They're
mm.
afraid that they're going to be in trouble if they let go of this earth plane.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've come across a couple like that. Billy says, I was going to ask what's called a death or transition doula and your definition of that. So, a death doula is someone who pretty much helps the family, the loved ones, prepare for the transition out of body. It's a very, very honorable job. Sometimes they're called hospice workers. Other times, when it's really their passion, they end up calling themselves a death doula. My cousin, she does that. So it's a very powerful thing. I remember her sharing with me at one point she had she had a patient who called her red because her hair is dyed like bright red, and ALS, that's what it is. Yes, that's what it is.
That's what she asked.
That's what she asked, ALS. We began a very extensive conversation on the effects of hyperpermeable bowel and xenobiotics in the body, in the bloodstream, and how it affects the proper functioning of fascia, especially deeper fascia, and how it affects all of that. So it was profound. I don't remember how the conversation went anymore, but it was profound. Yeah. Um,
Check your messages when you get a chance. It's gonna blow your mind.
oh, yeah. That's when she hijacked my phone. Yeah, she
What
says,
did
"Is
it
there
say?
any connection between ALS and leaky gut syndrome?
What did
Hyperpermeable
it say?
bowel. Is there any connection between?" Yeah, yeah, that's hyperpermeable bowel.
Girl,
Yes.
this was
Mhm.
well before she was disembodied.
Oh, I don't know when. I think it was a while ago though
I
that
don't know. Actually, I don't know when, but like
yeah.
it's.
Don't show her. Don't show her.
I
I don't want.
had it on my message thing, whatever, but no, I'm not showing her. But that's so deep because even that, like she asked that question when she was embodied, right?
She's very intelligent.
Yeah, I bet, you know.
Very the type of conversations she has with me sometimes.
Oh,
Very, very intelligent.
she holds symposium. You all hold symposium, huh? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So that even that is an example, guys. You probably don't know. I haven't just, but Marlene is she's fascinating. Like even listening to how you talk about certain things that she asks, even when we're here and everybody gets a chance to hear the kinds of things she has, the kind of thoughts that she has. Like, okay, Marlene got bars, you know. Sometimes Marlene will say something like, you know, Steve.
She's highly intelligent. I don't know that I would be as tolerant in the beginning. I don't think I would have been as tolerant with her presence if she wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that gave her the opportunity, the questions and the follow up questions gave her the opportunity to interact with me more because she goes, say it. That's how demonic things can gain access to me, as if they present information that triggers this insatiable need to learn.
Oh,
Uh,
so we don't want that.
she's yeah, because at that point I was like, "You're demonic, huh? You demon?
She's
I'll
like,
mess you up." And Michael always protected her, so I didn't do anything to her. But
yeah.
yeah, no, that was one of the things was that she would get me to talk about all kinds of different things with her.
Mhm.
Oh, she says she's adopting my vernacular.
Oh, she's so cute. She's so cute.
Yeah,
Oh.
she said she says, "You guys have no idea. She speaks so differently when it's just me and her."
Oh, she's so sweet.
And then she goes, "I'm sorry." She looks at me. "I'm sorry. Her and I."
He's like, let me make sure I'm grammatically correct here.
Right, right. But
Oh, wow.
um, this is a good question. A little off topic, but does Alzheimer's and dementia patients choose to forget this life? Is that the wiping of memory of this lifetime? No, it has to do, it's basically like, this is my speculation, this is my theory. It is an elder form of autism. It is heavy metals and other toxins crossing the blood brain barrier due to synergistic toxicity. This is because of all the heavy metals in our foods, in our environment, all the aerial spraying, all of that stuff that's going on. pairing it with the widespread use of glyphosate, which then cages it and brings it across the blood-brain barrier. It's injury. It's not a choice to forget. It's injury. It's malfunctioning um, biomechanical machinery. It's the malfunctioning of
Mm.
it. What does Miss Marlene look like?
Mhm.
She's beautiful.
Oh.
I made her blush.
Yeah, the blushy blushy.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
um, where there was another. Hi, Shivan Renee.
Hey, Nene.
Here. What is it called when you guide spirit beings home to the creator? How do you know if this is your calling? That could be similar to a death doula. There's so many different shamanic practices that help people to guide things back home. Um, I don't really touch into that too much, just because I definitely honor the sovereignty, their sovereign decision to remain in holding patterns. I'm not authorized to interfere in that way. So it might be um, more of, your soul or whoever's soul that does this type of thing. Maybe you have some type of karmic connection with that being, and this is how you're clearing the ledger board between the two of you. It
Mm.
could be something like that.
Mm.
But I don't do that type of thing. I just, yeah, I tend to be like, well, you got 2 feet, you get up and walk. Walk back home. It's all good, no one's forcing you here. It's that cap moon, I'm sorry. I'm like, why are you just sitting there? You want to get up? No one to stop you. Well, because some people just need that extra time to process,
Mm.
right? And I just, unless they're doing something. Marlene says, I'm just grateful she didn't walk me home.
Yeah. No, she need to be grateful that you weren't able to walk her home.
You mean yeet her across the fence? And one time I got so pissed off. She was like just insisting and insisting, and I told her stop talking to me already. Like you need to give me an hour or two because you're making. And she kept insisting and insisting, and I was like, Michael, I'm gonna yeet her. He goes, you are not authorized to yeet.
Not authorized.
I was like, you too. Leave me alone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
The Wi-Fi.
I'm sorry.
What about the Wi-Fi?
When she does crazy
What
stuff.
about she came in and affected the Wi-Fi?
Mhm. She's very headstrong. When she thinks something, she's gonna see all the way through.
Ooh, I see why you guys are paired.
I mean, it's a little bit more potent than my stubborn. I'm just like, listen, I don't want to start calling you the H word. Like, what do you want? Do it already, because you're not gonna stop.
Oh
I
my
don't want to call you
God.
the H word. You're someone's mom. I can't.
Right. No, you're so respectful of that though. That's so sweet. Yeah. That's really
I
sweet.
think she takes advantage of that though. She says she loves the way that I was raised like that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's a beautiful
Mhm.
thing, especially in 2023. Guys, not trying to tell anybody what to do, but there's so much honor and just so much it's so much of a gift to respect and love our elders. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, this is a question.
Mm.
What does Saint Benedict sound and look like? Does he speak to you? So he's someone that's in my field. I never interact with him though. I don't look at him. I don't talk to him. I assume he speaks to me because sometimes I see his mouth move, but he's on mute. All my guides are on mute. The only one I'll allow to speak is Michael.
That's really
I just, I'm particular. What? I'm shy. So yeah, no, all of them are on mute except for Michael. Marlene is and Michael doesn't talk much, and Marlene she's talking about marshmallows right now.
Yes.
She was quiet for like a week or two. I don't know what was going on with her. She was quiet for like a week or two, and then I realized the other day, like, oh, she hasn't talked at all. Now she's back at it again with the fresh baths on.
I think she wanted to, I could be wrong, but I think she wanted to make sure it was okay. She doesn't want to upset you. She doesn't want to turn you off. And she definitely doesn't want you to want her to go away, is what I think. I don't know, but that's what I think.
I think she had something she was cooking up.
She's always cooking up something. No.
I'm gonna start calling her chef. Hey,
Yeah. Raekwon. Raekwon's counterpart.
mhm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
um,
she always up to something.
these are some good questions.
Mhm.
Does everyone have a sound, their own individual sound? Yes, that's
Mm.
your frequency signature. Your frequency signature is audible as well as visual. It's a light pattern.
Mm.
So, kind of like your fingerprint, it's unique to you. Um, she was talking about peeps. She Lisa says, "I love marshmallows, Marlene, Peeps in particular." She was talking about Peeps because I think Peeps are nasty except for the happy birthday one, the birthday cake one that has like these little crunchy somethings in them, but I can't eat them.
Oh wow.
And she was talking about this lady is too much. She's talking about preparations for she's talking about preparations for Easter.
Oh.
Yeah, she's asking me if I'm gonna like, this is not the time to talk to me about Easter decoration.
She wants you to be ready. Nana, thank you for the bun and cheese. I love you. Well, you know what I want to ask you? Speaking of marshmallows, what does Marlene think about the what is the truffle? The SWS truffle.
Mm.
Mellow decadence?
Oh my god!
Why?
She's like, "Your memory is horrible." It is. It is. She's eaten my truffles before.
She has. Oh, that's so sweet. What's her favorite one? Which is her favorite?
I only sent her one kind.
Was it the mellow decadence? I know it's not the espresso.
Espresso.
It was the espresso. Marlene, you my girl. You my girl. That's my favorite. Oh my gosh, that espresso is. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Wow. Oh,
That's deep.
wow. She's like, "Yeah, no, I knew you before I left."
Oh, wow.
So we gotta end this live stream.
You
This live stream.
made the live stream, but you know, next space is uncensored. So, Marlene, please don't get put in the box. Be like,
That's crazy.
mm,
She's like, "I can't believe you don't remember. You
wow,
sent me
wow,
6 of them."
that's deep.
I know, I think she's lying. Hold on. Let me Oh, I don't have access to those emails anymore.
I don't think that she is. And I know it sounds crazy, but for some reason, I kept wanting to ask you about her and truffles, not thinking that she had any before, but like thinking, what would she think now of the truffles? I just kept thinking about her and truffles.
Well, when I was making those truffles for the samples,
Mhm.
I had made the vegan caramel sauce, and she goes, "Ooh, that one's really good."
She's like
I
you.
know.
She's right. She's right. So Marlene gets a chance to taste them before they're offered to the other people that taste them. Is that what's happening? Before the clients taste them, Marlene gets a chance to say what's good.
No. someone ordered it for her before she passed.
Oh, really? Wait. I know that the truffles have the caramel in it, but was she also talking about the caramel itself? Like the one in the.
Because that's how I used to make it.
Yes.
So
Wow.
someone had ordered it for her before she passed when I first had my truffle shop.
Oh my gosh. She's got good taste. Espresso is my favorite. Guys, that espresso truffle, let me tell you something. These truffles, they don't have any, the espresso is completely vegan. And it's so nice and creamy and delicious. You will never believe that it's vegan. It is delicious. It's delicious. I'm not vegan. So I will take that vegan espresso for a lot of chocolate that's out there any day. Yes.
Mm. Mm. Girl, let's go. She is just
I'm sorry because I know I know in some way her little swipe. What is it? Wasn't egging on. It was cajoling. Cajoling would be the better word choice, right?
she says my eyes are so intense right now.
They are.
She goes, "Your eyes are so intense, I'll stop."
Oh. She's so funny. But I mean, if your truffles are good, they're just delicious. They're good. That
They're
recipe, girl, I don't even know. Girl, that recipe is like the John. It's like, oof. Has anybody had her espresso truffles? Like that recipe that she came up with is like, it's unbelievable. Has anybody ever had the espresso truffles? Dun, dun.
Nancy has.
Yes, yeah, they are. They do melt in your mouth. Oh, they're so good. Oh my gosh, yummy.
Oh, you'll be very, very addicted to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
the truffles are something else.
It's good to try to. Ooh, Queen of Hearts, I'm gonna tell you, girl, you're gonna love them. You are going to love them. I love them. Emmy, is there anything? Um, I know we're nearing the end. Is there anything you want to say about transitions before we go? As we transition to the other part, which is our part two. What do you want to say about transition? Also, what products and services do you have that may be able to help people through their transition? In addition to just sharing space in this nice, beautiful, free space, and anything you want to say. How can people get in touch with you at the last part?
Okay. So, I think all of the services can apply at some point. What I encourage everyone to do is to go ahead and look at what services I have offered on my website, see what calls to you. If you can't narrow it down to just one, I would go with a mentorship. Mentorship is a very good way to address so many different aspects of what you might be going through that you don't realize is part of what you're going through. Um, Another suggestion would be self and soul coaching. That's where I do life coaching. Um, you could also consider a spiritual communications bridge. You can consider a past life reading. You could consider Claire Tarot reading. There's so many different things that you can choose from. And I highly encourage you to empower yourself by letting your soul guide you to choose whatever it is you need. You might not know what the service is, you might not know exactly what it is that's going to be done in that service, but if you find yourself drawn to something, that's your soul guiding you. You know, that is your soul guiding you for sure.
Mhm.
Oh, this is a really good question. How can I explain your work to people who have no prior knowledge or understanding to anything spiritual?
Mm.
My work is the cohesive blending of spirituality and biology, right? Your human form and your soul form come together at a place called Kokoro. Kokoro is a very old Japanese term that pertains to that center point where the mind, the body, and the heart they come together. That's your center point. Oh, remind me to share about what my son told me that the AI told him. Y'all, my son asked the AI to explain my biospiritual system. Tell me why the AI knew what my system is.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. I'm
Wow.
like, that plagiarizing mofo.
Hey, it said it has to be resourceful. It said, hey, it's got to do its job. It
Yeah.
got an
Well,
AI.
there's other aspects to that that I'm going to share over in the private chat right after this, but it was very, very interesting.
Mm.
Very interesting.
So deep.
Um, I've got a friend with a demon, but they don't trust your work will help them. Then I can't help them.
Mm.
Yeah. Hannah, hold on. My work won't help them. It's very simple. If someone doesn't want to allow me to, I don't force it, and I leave it alone.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Nene wants to know, on a humorous note, how about a get out of my space, you demon W session? I'm asking. She said, I'm just asking for a friend.
I am that friend. It's me. I am the friend.
That's hilarious. Girl, you had a whole service called that. Get out of my space, you DW session. That's
Um,
hilarious.
Hannah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So here's the thing, I always honor people's sovereignty. Um, if they don't even want to try, then we have to respect that.
Yeah.
I've lost friends to this as well. I have lost a handful of very special people to my heart because they don't want to allow me the permission to correct a circumstance.
Mm.
I have to honor that. So, I would rather be upfront, very upfront in a very public way than, mislead people into thinking that I am going to willingly override someone else's sovereign decision. Right? I would love to clear everyone, but not everyone is willing to be. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, we're heading over to the after party before Marlene can say anything else. If you want to join us over there, please do. If you're not already part of our online familia, go check it out.
Yes.
The Soul Sanctuary.love. We're going to be talking some really intense deep dives in a few minutes and hope you guys can join us. For those who are there already, I'll see you there in a few minutes. Okay, guys? Ocean, is there anything you want to say?
I just want to say that, well, first of all, thank you so very much, Emmy. Thank you, Soul Fam. Thank you for the kind words, all the nice gestures, condolences, all of that. I appreciate all of that. I also want to say that the Spiritual Bridge Communication Session is on sale. Y'all, if you
Mm.
want to check it out, it's a beautiful time. And a lot of them are on sale. A lot of the sessions are on sale. So it's good to check it out. All right.
Almost the whole website, I think, is 40% off.
Oh,
I forgot to turn up.
that's wonderful. Guys, if you know, you know, you might want to secure it.
Ooh,
Well,
Nene says, "You are my friend. You helped extract a narcissist in 2019. He couldn't stand your voice. For
mm,
this, I thank you." Yeah.
wow, it's deep.
Oftentimes, when people have a parasitic issue, they cannot stand me. They
Mm,
cannot stand the sound of my voice.
mm,
They cannot stand when other people listen to me. They just dislike me so much.
mm.
That's just too bad.
Right?
That's unfortunate. All right, guys, we'll see you over at the after party. Bye, everyone.